What's up, guys? I almost said, Alexa. I almost said that. But yeah, anyways, what's up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we are reviewing Ant-Man and the Wasp. And no, not Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, but Ant-Man and the Wasp, or Ant-Man 2. And listen, by the time we're recording this video, Quantumania is already out at this point, probably. If not already. So, by the time we're recording of this video, let's just say that, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania will be out in theaters and eventually be on digital, which it probably is. What do I think of Ant-Man and the Wasp? In my opinion, it's not as good as the first one. It's probably the most average Marvel movie ever, okay? By far. It's probably the most average. It's by far the most average Marvel movie. I would say that, like, the last couple of minutes of Ant-Man and the Wasp was pretty good, but most of it wasn't. But I'll tell you, is that one of Marvel's biggest criticisms is the constant joking. Like, Marvel is literally, like, saying a bad joke every 5 seconds. And it's like, Marvel, if you want to put humor in your movies, actually make jokes that are funny and not bad. Because I'm sorry, Marvel, but coming from somebody who's a Marvel person myself, Marvel, you have a joke problem, okay? Thor: Love and Thunder proved that you had a joke problem. There was nothing but constant jokes. Literally, the whole movie was a giant joke. It was practically a walking joke. The posters, everything. Except for Gore, though. Because of Christian freaking Bale. But anyways, Ant-Man and the Wasp, honestly, it just wasn't as good. I was just a little bit disappointed with this sequel. Because, first of all, yes, the first one had some joke problems, but at least it balanced, all the humor with seriousness. And that's the one thing I like. And this is what all MCU movies should do. Is if you want to add jokes to your movies, then have a good balance of the two. Okay? Because listen, Doctor Strange 2, for example, yes, it was pretty divisive, but at least with that movie, like, took risks and actually felt like an R-rated movie. At least that took risks. But Ant-Man 2, it was just not as funny as the first. Plus, some of the characters aren't as funny as the first one. But the one thing I'll tell you is Hope, the Wasp herself, honestly, this should have been her own solo movie. Like, honestly, the Wasp in this movie, you might as well make it a whole movie about her rather than Ant-Man. Okay? Because I'll tell you, although Edgar Wright was the original writer for the first Ant-Man movie, but left the project due to apparent creative differences, but at least the Payne Reed version had some Edgar Wright's fingerprints on it, but yeah, Ant-Man was like the perfect property for Edgar Wright to do. Because listen, that Ghost, first of all, Ghost, I would say is an okay villain, but not really memorable. Bill or Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix. A lot of you guys may know him from The Matrix, but he's also one of the main villains. But I wouldn't really call him a villain. It's just a guy. Like, I wouldn't call the two pure evil. Okay, I would say they're both broken. I would say, but yeah, and then they finally bring back, which honestly, the main plot of this movie is one, I did like how the events of Civil War had major consequences with this movie with, Scott Lang being house arrest for 2 years, and as a result, Hank and Hope essentially turned into, like, fugitives, essentially. Like, all that's interesting stuff. And one of the characters, one of the villains, is named Sonny. With an O. Sonny. Coincidence? I think not. But, yeah, then, and what I found Michelle Pfeiffer in this movie, I mean, she wasn't really in the movie that much, but the scenes she was in, I would say, is a pretty solid performance, I would say, but yeah, man, like, overall, I would say Ant-Man and the Wasp was honestly kind of a disappointing sequel. And then we get to that post-credit scene. That post-credit scene, man, that whole post-credit scene, in my opinion, was basically, because, at the end, they were going to give Ghost, essentially, the true key to the cure was basically inside the quantum realm, so they need energy, for basically, get her all healthy again, but obviously the snap happened, and Hope, Hank, and not Jane, but it was I forget her name, but Michelle Pfeiffer's character, but Janet. So Janet, Hank, and Hope all got disintegrated or snapped. And as a result, Ant-Man, or Paul Rudd, or Scott Lang, or Paul Rudd's character, gets stuck in the quantum realm and is essentially stuck in there. And that definitely got me to be excited for Avengers 4 even more. That's the one thing I liked. Okay, because listen, that was crazy. Like, that just causes another big consequence for Ant-Man. And then that eventually led to him, essentially, if it wasn't for Ant-Man, the world would still probably be in a very dark place. But yeah. And then you had a post-credit scene of a giant ant just playing drums, and that was just unnecessary. But honestly, man, it was just there. But yeah, overall, I think that Ant-Man and the Wasp was good, but not great. An overall disappointing sequel. And that's it. Ant-Man and the Wasp came out in 2018 and made $600 million at the box office, which is pretty small compared to other MCU movies. But yeah. And now we finally get to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which we will cover once I see it. But yeah. Stay tuned, because tomorrow I won't be dropping Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania review tomorrow. Probably not. But I will post Rocky Free tomorrow, okay? So stay tuned for a Rocky Free review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.